$10:47, court lights flicker twice. That means I cut and power in 13 minutes. Some not showing tatty go hana. One ball, 35,001. Bouncing it alone again. It's the left side 7 times in a row. My follow through keeps breaking at the wrist. Nike soles run flat from coming back here. Every night like something's gonna change. Say you shoot 1,000 before one falls clean. 사람도 그런 거래. They say love is like that too. It's not the aim, it's the art. The way you let it go. And we still in overtime. 아직 끝난 게 아니야. Still in overtime. 아직 끝난 게 아니야. It's not over yet. Still in overtime. Still in overtime. The buzzer broke, the clock stopped counting. I keep shooting in the dark, cause walking out this court means I quit you. Still. She's not alone now. You showed up Thursday, didn't say a word. Just stood at 3-point line and watched I pass. You caught it like you knew the way to what I was really throwing. You don't play like you're trying to win. You play like the ball owes you nothing. Your crossover's ugly, shots too flat, but you stay past when the lights went up. You said the fence is just standing close enough to hear somebody breathe. 지키는 건 가까이 서는 거네. I never thought of it like that. Still in overtime. 아직도 난 게 아니야. Every miss just stays overtime. I'm real the way you like to catch it. Still in overtime. Still in overtime. Scoreboard's got nobody watching. 2 shadows on the court. Taking turns at something bigger than the game. Follow me, I reached too hard. Wanted to steal before you were ready to pass. Follow me, I reached too hard. Wanted to steal before you were ready to pass. Follow me, I reached too hard. Wanted to steal before you were ready to pass. Follow me. Shake like let it go. Still it overtime. The party's ours. The world forgot us. Your crossover still ugly, but you stay. You stay past when the lights went off. Let's tell me score that counts. $10:47. $10:47. $10:47. 10. 밤새고 일단 안 쳐다볼 거야. 5분째 운동만큼만 묻고 있잖아. 바쁜 척 핸드폰 화면만 꼬들겨. 징징대는 주황색 가로등 네 탑에서 의미 없이 공만 튕기지. Looking everywhere else but looking at me. 낡은 코트 위로 삐롯된 나이키. 땀방울에 맺혀도 한여름은 아니지. 텅 빈 벤치에 너와 나 둘뿐인데. So tell me why you're slowing it down. 빨갛게 깜빡이는 shot clock. 머릿속이 너무 복잡해 보이지 넌. Stop playing defense with my type. 건지 하면서 뒤에 남을 건지. Take the shot clock is down to 3. 공 뺏기 싫으면 pass it to me. 밤에 날 불러낸 이유가 뭐야 펜색이 되니까 우리 엇가가고도 그런 틈터리였고 길은 열렸어 근데 네 손끝은 왜 얼어붙은 건데 hey, 그런 날 슈팅고 돌아서도 결국엔 울려 퍼질 버저비로 I'm not sitting on the bench 망설이 거면 지금 내게 보여줘 빨갛게 쌍파기는 shot clock 머릿속이 너무 복잡해 보이지 넌 Stop playing defense with my time 던질 건지 아님 섬 뒤에 남을 건지 Yeah, but shot clock is down to 3 공백이 싫으면 pass it 텐쇼 get your Time's out, baby. Get your time's out, baby. Get your
Imagine you hear this sharp, echoing squeak of rubber sneakers, just skidding across polished hardwood.
Oh, yeah, and that heavy, rhythmic thud of a basketball just vibrating through a massive gymnasium.
Exactly. And you hear two people, they're slightly out of breath, and they're laughing as they sort of jockey for position under the backboard.
Right, it sounds totally casual.
It does. I mean, if you close your eyes, you would absolutely think you were listening to, like, a high school gym class winding down on a random Tuesday.
There's two people messing around.
But you aren't. What you are actually listening to is the exact, hyper-calculated moment that a multi-million-dollar hit song is being engineered.
Which is wild to think about.
It really is. Welcome to the Future _music deep dive.
So I really want you to try and put yourself in Gwyn Dorado's shoes for a second here.
Oh, man. Yeah, that is a heavy place to be.
It is. I mean, you have just survived an absolute television gauntlet.
Surviving is the right word for it.
Right. You've spent weeks, maybe even months, just baking under those blinding studio lights of Sing Again 4.
Just high stress all the time.
All the time. Fighting tooth and nail against, honestly, some of the most fiercely talented vocalists in the entire country.
Yeah, the talent pool there is just insane.
It's terrifying. So your nervous system, by the end of it, is just completely fried.
Oh, absolutely shot.
But you've proven your raw talent, right? You've been covering other people's songs, taking these really familiar melodies and, injecting them with your own vocal colors.
Right, just doing whatever it takes to survive week after week of those grueling eliminations.
Exactly. And you did it. You made it to the top 6. You survived.
And this is the kicker, your reward is definitely not a vacation.
Not even close. Your reward is that you now have to walk into a room and prove to a legendary, deeply established hitmaker that you aren't just, like, a highly skilled karaoke machine.
Oof. Yeah, that's a brutal pivot.
It is. You have to prove you can be an originator.
Which brings us to the core mission of our deep dive today. We're looking at this highly anticipated new project, Famous Singers Need Hit Songs.
Such a great concept.
It's brilliant, but it's brutal. You take those battle-tested top 6 vocalists from Sing Again 4, and you pair them with legendary Korean producers to craft original chart-topping tracks.
The stakes are just astronomically high.
They really are. And today, we actually have our hands on a pre-release clip of one very specific pairing.
The rising vocal star, Gwyn Dorado.
Yep, the lady herself. And the undeniably iconic producer, Code Kunst, the man who basically shapes the sound of the industry.
Such an interesting dynamic between those two.
It's fascinating. But as we just established with that opening audio, they are not meeting in some multi-million-dollar, mood-lit, soundproof recording studio.
No, they're sweating it out on a brightly lit basketball court.
Exactly. And based on our strategic analysis of the behavioral data in this highly unconventional icebreaker, we are going to predict exactly why this specific collaboration is destined to generate a massive, undeniable commercial success.
I mean, the emotional stakes of this transition from being a competitor to being an originator are just staggering.
They are.
We really cannot gloss over the psychological weight she's carrying onto that court.
Oh, for sure. It's a completely different game now.
Right. Because in a survival show format, your entire identity is built on interpretation.
Yes, the song already exists.
Exactly. The architecture's already there. The audience already knows and loves the chorus.
So your job is really just to execute it.
Yeah, to execute it with enough emotional resonance to basically keep yourself from getting eliminated.
Right. It's vulnerable, but it's a guided vulnerability.
Guided vulnerability, that's a perfect way to put it, because now she is stepping out of the armor of those familiar songs.
She has to create something from nothing.
Right. She is standing entirely bare before a producer whose literal job is to craft her definitive original identity.
And the public expectation is just suffocating at this point.
The hype is deafening.
Yeah.
And she has to do this face-to-face with a man who holds immense power and influence in the industry.
So let's actually define the mechanical difference between what she just did on television and what she has to do now.
Okay, yeah, let's break that down.
Because the strategy shifts entirely. Winning a singing competition and generating a dominant commercial hit, those require two completely antagonistic skill sets.
Totally different muscles.
Exactly. On a show like Sing Again 4, you are aiming for immediate, visceral, transient impact.
You want that wow factor.
All right, you want that singular, gravity-defying high note that makes the judges physically leap out of their chairs.
Yeah, you are relying on that deep, pulling, emotional angst, that real Hugot feeling that connects instantly in a live setting.
Yes, exactly. It's all about overwhelming the senses in this tiny 3-minute burst of high adrenaline.
But a commercial hit song, that is an entirely different beast.
Oh, completely. That requires a high win score.
And a high win score isn't about overwhelming the listener just once.
Right, it's not a one-and-done deal.
No, it's about seducing them into hitting repeat 100 times.
Precisely. A win score measures algorithmic favorability, sonic branding, playlist retention, and, the creation of a groove that literally lives in the listener's head for months on end.
It's sustainable listening.
Exactly. You do not get a high win score just by belting out notes until your vocal cords bleed.
Right, that actually causes listener fatigue.
Yes, you get it through a delicate, highly structured balance. You need a unique producing style that melds perfectly with the artist's raw underlying talent.
But without overshadowing it, which is the hard part.
Which is the hardest part. The producer has to find the exact frequency where the vocalist shines and then build a meticulous sonic architecture around that frequency.
Which is exactly why walking into a traditional studio with a titan, like Code Kunst, would normally be like a psychological death sentence for a newly minted competition finalist.
Oh, it would be terrifying.
The power dynamic is inherently dangerously lopsided.
He holds all the cards?
He holds the keys to the kingdom. He has the track record, the industry clout, the defining sound that has moved millions of units.
He's the man.
Right. And when a young female artist walks into the territory of a deeply established male producer, the natural human survival instinct is compliance.
You just want to agree with everything.
Exactly. You become deferential. You play it safe. You nod your head and say yes to whatever the genius producer suggests.
Because you're terrified of looking ungrateful or inexperienced.
Right. You don't want to rock the boat. But compliance does not create magic.
No, it really doesn't.
Compliance creates safe, forgettable, generic audio.
Let's actually step away from the music industry for a second to really lock in on why this dynamic is so precarious.
Okay, hit me with an analogy.
Let's look at this transition like a highly successful white label manufacturer.
Oh, I like that.
But instead of just a generic corporate manufacturer, let's look at it like a master tailor. A tailor who has spent their entire career taking measurements and cutting fabric based on the rigid, uncompromising blueprints of high-end fashion houses.
So they have incredible technical skill.
Flawless execution. For years, this tailor, our singer, Gwyn Dorado, has been handed the designs.
She doesn't have to invent this suit.
Exactly. She uses her premium raw materials, her flawless vocal execution, and she builds an amazing garment.
But the label on the collar always belongs to someone else.
Exactly. Now, the market is demanding she launch her own flagship brand.
Which is terrifying.
She has the raw skill. She knows how to cut the fabric. But she doesn't have the visionary architectural eye to design a silhouette from scratch.
Right. She needs a creative partner to help her find her own silhouette.
Exactly. She needs Code Kunst. But if he acts like a traditional architect and just slaps his own pre-existing generic blueprint down on the table...
then she loses her unique value proposition.
Yes. She just becomes a human synthesizer plug-in for his beat.
Wow, yeah. A plug-in.
If he brings her to his studio, his territory, with his platinum plaques on the wall and his massive mixing console, he is implicitly asking her to fit into his pre-made suit.
But by choosing the basketball court instead.
He is taking her measurements in the wild.
Oh, that's brilliant.
He is watching how she moves, how she breathes, and how she reacts naturally before he even thinks about cutting the sonic fabric.
And we actually see this strategy immediately deployed in the very first moments of the footage.
Oh yeah, the data is right there.
The dialogue right out of the gate is just packed with behavioral data. We learn right away that this is Code Kunst's very first time playing basketball with a, quote, music friend.
Right. He's not in his comfort zone either.
No, he isn't bringing her into a hobby he has mastered. In fact, he explicitly admits that he is originally a massive soccer fanatic.
Right, a real Chuck doll.
Exactly, a total soccer nut. He is on this squeaky hardwood court playing basketball today purely because it is what Dorado wanted to do.
He's yielding the venue.
Completely. He looks at her and says directly, if it's what Dorado wants to do, it doesn't matter.
And then he drops what might be the most strategically absurd joke of his entire career.
Oh my gosh, the Speedo comment.
Yes. The
Speedo comment.
I could not believe he said that.
Yeah. He tells her with a completely straight face that if she had chosen swimming instead of basketball as their icebreaker activity,
He would have shown up in a Speedo.
he says he would have dutifully shown up to the pool wearing arena triangle trunks, meaning a tiny, highly revealing Speedo just to accommodate her request.
Okay, we really have to pause and deeply analyze the emotional leveling happening here.
Please do, because it's wild.
That Speedo joke is not just a throwaway piece of banter. It is a calculated, brilliant masterstroke of psychological disarming.
How so?
Think about the image he normally projects. He is a hyper-cool, legendary producer.
Right, he has this aura.
By explicitly stating that he is out of his primary element, abandoning soccer to step onto her chosen turf, and then verbally painting a humiliating picture of himself in tiny swimming trunks.
He's making himself look ridiculous.
Actively. He's aggressively dismantling the intimidating hierarchy between them. He is checking his own ego at the door of the gymnasium.
He's basically kicking the pedestal right out from under himself.
Completely.
Yeah.
He is physically and verbally signaling to her, like, I am not here to dictate terms to you. I am not the master and you are not the student. I am here to play your game.
It totally levels the playing field.
Any lingering awkwardness about their status difference shatters the moment he makes that joke. It creates an immediate foundational layer of trust.
Because he's willing to look silly.
Right. When the artist sees that the producer is willing to look foolish, to step totally outside his own comfort zone just to ensure she feels comfortable, her defensive walls evaporate.
She realizes she doesn't have to be perfect.
Exactly. She realizes she doesn't have to put on a facade of knowing everything. She is allowed to experiment. She is allowed to be human.
Okay, hold on. I see the emotional logic there, and it's nice.
Right.
But I'm not entirely buying that this is a flawless strategy from a production standpoint.
Really? Why not?
Let's look at the actual mechanics of generating a massive chart-topping win score. If a producer accommodates the singer this much, right out of the gate, literally abandoning his own sport, yielding the venue, letting her dictate the physical environment,
Yeah.
doesn't he risk completely diluting his own signature sound?
You think he's being too submissive?
I think he's risking his identity. We know how this industry works. Artists and producers get hired for their distinct, recognizable sonic signatures.
True.
So if Code Kunst just completely morphs into whatever Gwyn Dorado wants, if he just hands over the steering wheel to keep her comfortable, who is actually driving the ship?
I see what you're saying.
Doesn't a hit song intrinsically require the producer to impose some level of dominant, rigid structure?
It needs a spine.
Exactly. If you just cater entirely to the artist's comfort zone, don't you usually end up with something incredibly safe, bland, and ultimately just forgettable?
That's a valid fear if you view collaboration as, like, a zero-sum game of dominance.
Well, someone has to be in charge.
Sure, but I think you are misinterpreting the timeline of his strategy here.
How so?
Yielding the venue and accommodating her at the beginning of the process is not the same as surrendering the steering wheel for the entire journey.
Okay, so it's temporary.
Exactly. What Code Kunst is doing right now on that court is aggressively building an emotional bank account.
An emotional bank account. Okay, I'm listening.
Yes. By deferring to her preferences now, by proving to her that he respects her autonomy and prioritizes her comfort over his own ego.
He's making a deposit.
A massive deposit. He is earning the right to take the wheel later when it actually matters.
When they're in the studio.
Right. Fast forward to next week. They are in the vocal booth. He needs her to push past her physical limits.
He needs to push her hard. He needs her to try a complex, jagged vocal run that feels deeply unnatural to her. Or maybe he needs to brutally restructure a melody she wrote herself.
Which usually causes a lot of friction.
Exactly. But because he built this bank account, she will trust him.
She won't fight him on it.
Right. She won't resist his direction. She won't view his critique as an attack because she knows fundamentally that he is on her side.
He's already proven it.
Yes. He won't be imposing his will out of producer arrogance. He will be doing it out of established partnership.
A down payment.
Exactly. The extreme accommodation on the basketball court is the down payment for absolute creative control in the recording studio.
Okay, so it's a long game.
A very long game.
He yields the physical space to gain her psychological trust, which ultimately allows him to ruthlessly maintain his win score standards when the microphones are actually hot.
You got it.
I can actually see that. And if we look closer at the footage, that strategic accommodation doesn't just stop at simply showing up to the gym.
Oh, it goes way deeper. It extends deeply into the highly specific rules they establish for the mechanics of their play.
Because the way people play together almost always mirrors the way they will work together.
The basketball game is a real-time simulation of their future studio workflow.
Absolutely.
Let's break down those mechanics, because they are a literal blueprint. They start their warm-up, right?
Just shooting around.
And Code Kunst is immediately watching her form. He compliments her one-handed shots.
He's so encouraging.
He starts actively hyping her up, joking loudly about taking her to the national tournament.
I love that part.
And he completely volunteers to be the one running around fetching all her rebounds.
Right, he's doing the grunt work.
Then they establish the actual stakes of the game. They agree to a simple 5-point match where the winner gets a wish.
Classic low-stakes bet.
But here is the critical, fascinating detail. They establish a very specific, unbreakable rule for this game.
Which is?
If you miss a shot, you cannot just stand in place, grab the rebound, and blindly shoot again.
Right, no rapid-fire shooting.
You have to physically walk all the way outside the court line, mentally reset, and then step back in to take your next shot.
Wow.
And to decide who gets the ball first, they just do a quick game of rock, paper, scissors.
Okay, the interpersonal dynamics layered into these rules are just incredible.
Let's unpack it.
Let's look at the hype first. The national tournament joke is a masterclass in confidence building.
It's pure hype.
He is making her feel like an absolute superstar in a totally low-stakes environment. Even if she is missing shots, he is framing her effort as something worthy of the grandest stage.
It's incredibly validating.
And by constantly fetching her rebounds, he is physically placing himself in a supportive, subservient role.
Right, he's literally running after her missed shots.
It completely scrambles the expected power dynamic of the master producer and the novice singer.
It totally flips it.
Then, setting the stakes at a 5-point game for a wish, it introduces a playful, mischievous competitiveness without attaching any actual professional anxiety to it.
It creates a safe container for ambition.
A perfectly safe container.
It is a perfectly safe container, but I really want to zero in on that specific physical rule they set.
The miss and reset rule.
Yes. If you miss, you go out and come back in. When I heard them agree to that, my mind immediately snapped to the reality of a high-end recording studio.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
Because that basketball rule is the absolute, perfect physiological metaphor for the most exhausting part of music production.
Punching in vocals.
Punching in vocals.
Explain the physiology of that for the listener. Why is that specific rule so important?
Think about how tedious, repetitive, and psychologically taxing recording a lead vocal actually is.
It's a marathon.
It's grueling. You are standing alone in this tiny, acoustically dead booth. Yeah. You are staring at a massive, unforgiving microphone.
The red light goes on.
The red light is on. You attempt a complex, emotionally demanding vocal run, and you miss the pitch by a fraction of a semitone.
Just a tiny mistake.
Yeah. But the take falls flat. The natural instinct for a lot of inexperienced singers, especially those coming off the live do-or-die adrenaline of a show like Sing Again 4, is to panic.
Right. They feel like they failed live on stage.
Exactly. So they freeze up, they lock their knees, they stand perfectly still in front of the mic, and they try to violently force the note out again from a place of static tension.
Which is the worst thing you can do. It just tightens the vocal cords even more.
Exactly. It destroys the take. Any great vocal producer will tell you that static tension is the ultimate enemy of resonance.
You can't sing well when you're tense.
You just can't. If a vocal run fails, you cannot just stand in the tension of that failure. You have to physically step back from the mic.
You have to reset.
You have to let the track reset, let the beat loop around, drop your shoulders, catch your breath, flush the cortisol out of your system.
Let the stress dissipate.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then physically step back up to the mic on the downbeat with fresh, relaxed energy.
Wow. So by establishing this mandatory rule on the basketball court,
Miss the shot, step outside the line, reset your body, come back in.
Code Kunst is actively, subconsciously training her in his studio workflow.
He is building her muscle memory for how they will handle failure, repetition, and frustration in the recording booth.
That is wild. It is a physical manifestation of a psychological reset.
Right.
That is a brilliant way to look at it. Because what kills a studio session faster than anything else is cumulative frustration.
No, it ruins the whole day.
When an artist misses a note and just tries to hammer at it over and over from a tense, static posture, the frustration just snowballs.
The diaphragm locks up completely.
And the performance degrades exponentially with every try.
Exactly.
By making the reset a mandatory physical rule of their game, Code Kunst is teaching her his operational rhythm.
Before they even touch a microphone.
He is showing her physically that missing isn't a dead end, and it isn't a catastrophe.
It's just part of the loop.
It is simply a mechanical trigger for a reset. He is completely removing the shame from missing the shot.
Which will translate to removing the shame from missing the note.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It just becomes part of the process. Step out, breathe, step back in, find the pocket.
And doing rock, paper, scissors to see who shoots first, that strips away the last remnants of industry hierarchy.
It's pure childish fairness.
Right. He isn't saying, I am the producer with the platinum records, so I dictate the opening move.
He's saying, let's let pure chance decide, and then we both submit to the exact same rules.
But as much as they are beautifully setting up this equitable, friendly environment, they are both highly driven people.
Oh, for sure.
Competitive instincts are deeply human, and when those instincts inevitably kick in during this 5-point game, it leads to what I think is the most complex, revealing, and frankly, tense moment of the entire video.
You're talking about the physical tussle on the court.
Yes.
This is where the underlying unspoken tensions of their dynamic really bubble up to the surface.
Right. So the game is underway, they are playing, and you can see Code Kunst is genuinely struggling with how to calibrate his effort.
Because he's an athlete.
He is an athletic guy. He clearly knows how to move on a court. And he starts playfully complaining out loud that it is actually really hard to hold back and lose on purpose.
Right, he feels awkward.
He says he feels a bit awkward trying to play at half speed while still making it look like a real game.
And then it happens.
There is a moment of slight physical friction, a minor body check, a bump as they are maneuvering around each other for the ball.
And instantly, Code Kunst reacts.
He stops and jokes out loud that during that brief moment of physical contact, his Narak sensor was triggered.
The Narak sensor.
He was suddenly terrified that he was playing way too rough.
The Narak sensor. Okay, we need to spend some time unpacking the immense cultural and emotional weight of that specific phrase.
Please do, because it's a very specific term.
It is. It highlights the extreme hyper-awareness that governs the Korean entertainment industry today.
It's a minefield.
For those who aren't steeped in the culture, Narak essentially translates to downfall, the abyss, or ruin.
Ruin. That's a strong word.
Very strong. In modern internet slang, your Narak sensor going off means your internal alarm is screaming that you are doing something that could get you completely canceled.
Sparking a massive public backlash.
Exactly. A career-ending public backlash. The clip actually ends shortly after this moment with the score at 2-0, but that flash of panic from him is profoundly telling.
It's the absolute terror of the internet mob analyzing a 2-second clip totally out of context.
Exactly. Code Kunst is acutely, painfully aware of the optics of this entire situation.
Think about the visual.
Right. He is a tall, athletic, deeply established male authority figure in the industry.
And she is a younger, rising female star.
Who is structurally dependent on him for her next career phase.
Right. He holds her future in his hands right now.
So if he plays too aggressively, if he physically dominates her on that court, even in the context of a friendly game,
The optics are disastrous.
he could be instantly perceived as a bully or as an arrogant veteran throwing his weight around to intimidate a newcomer.
The internet would have a field day.
The anxiety of the Narak, the sudden viral downfall, is a very real, omnipresent psychological weight for public figures at his level.
So he feels that physical bump, his alarm bells ring, and he realizes he's in dangerous territory.
But here is the absolute genius of his reaction.
What does he do differently?
Think about what a lesser producer, a less emotionally intelligent person would do. They would internalize that anxiety.
They would clam up.
They would freeze up, become stiff, awkward, and suddenly distant to protect themselves.
Which would totally ruin the vibe they just built.
Code Kunst does the exact opposite. He voices the fear out loud as a joke.
He literally tells her, my Narak sensor just went off.
Yes. By naming the awkwardness, by explicitly pointing out his own terror of looking like a bully, he instantly diffuses the tension.
It's so disarming.
He creates immense psychological safety for Dorado right there. By making himself the butt of the joke, he's essentially telling her, I am hyper-aware of your boundaries.
I'm watching out for you.
I am fiercely protective of you. And I am terrified of crossing a line that makes you uncomfortable.
It really demonstrates a profound level of emotional intelligence.
And care for the fragility of their new dynamic.
Okay, I hear you. I see the emotional intelligence. It definitely makes him look self-aware, highly protective, and, like a genuinely good guy.
Right.
But let me stop you right there, because we need to look at the strategic implication of this for the actual music.
Back to the win score.
Always back to the win score.
Yeah.
If we are trying to predict a massive chart-topping hit, we have to acknowledge reality.
Which is?
Creating a dominant hit song is not just about holding hands, singing Kumbaya, and making sure everyone feels warm and fuzzy all the time.
It requires friction.
It requires intense, necessary friction. There has to be push and pull in the studio.
Absolutely.
The fact that they are physically jostling on the court and then immediately laughing about the boundaries of that friction means they are testing the waters of conflict.
They are figuring out the rules of engagement.
They are trying to figure out how to push against each other safely. But here is my big pushback.
Okay, let's hear it.
And this is the critical make-or-break question for their entire project. If Code Kunst's Narak sensor is making him hesitate to play basic defense on a basketball court,
Yeah,
if he is literally scared to bump into her during a casual game to 5,
I see where you're going.
will he also hesitate to give her the tough, brutal, necessary criticism she needs in the recording booth?
You think his fear of being canceled will make him a soft producer?
I think it's a massive risk. What happens when she delivers a vocal take that is just okay, but not great?
Right, an acceptable take, but not a hit take.
Exactly. What happens when she thinks she nailed the chorus, but he knows it lacks the algorithmic punch needed for a high win score?
Will he speak up?
Will his fear of being perceived as an overbearing, dictatorial male producer, his highly sensitive Narak sensor, prevent him from pushing her to greatness?
That's a very fair question.
Could this hyper-awareness, this desperate desire to be the safe, nice guy, actually result in a mediocre song?
Wow.
Because sometimes an artist doesn't need a friend fetching their rebounds. Sometimes they need a producer to be relentlessly demanding.
That is the million-dollar question in modern collaborative art.
It really is.
Does prioritize psychological safety inevitably lead to creative complacency?
Does it make the art soft?
It is a trap that many collaborators fall into. They get so obsessed with keeping the vibes positive that they forget to make the art excellent.
Exactly.
However,
However,
I'm going to argue the exact opposite in this specific case.
okay, defend the nice guy approach.
I don't think his Narak sensor will hold him back in the studio for one single second.
Really?
In fact, I believe that explicitly acknowledging it on the court is precisely what will allow him to push her to the absolute limit later.
Walk me through that logic. How does fear of overstepping translate to demanding excellence?
Think about the fundamental function of boundaries. When you clearly establish where the boundary is, and you explicitly verbally agree on what constitutes too rough,
Right.
you actually create the ultimate freedom to play vigorously within those boundaries.
Because you know where the edge is.
Exactly. By voicing his fear of crossing the line physically, Code Kunst has proven to her that he is fundamentally safe.
He won't sneak up on her.
Right. He has proven he isn't a tyrant operating on ego, because she now knows, without a doubt, that he respects her physical and emotional boundaries.
She won't interpret his harsh musical critiques as personal attacks.
The critique is separated from the ego.
Yes. If a producer who acts like an untouchable dictator tells you your vocal run is weak, you shut down.
You feel attacked, belittled,
And
defensive.
the vocal cords literally tighten.
But if a producer who just spent an hour fetching your rebounds, joking about wearing Speedos, and admitting his fear of looking like a bully tells you your vocal run needs work, you listen. You know the critique is purely about the art, not about establishing dominance over you.
That makes a lot of sense.
The physical hesitation and vulnerability he showed on the court buys him the immense emotional capital he needs to be ruthlessly, surgically precise in the audio booth.
He can push her further than anyone else.
Because she knows he will never let her fall.
So the psychological safety isn't a replacement for friction. It's the shock absorber that allows the friction to happen without destroying the engine.
That is exactly what it is.
That makes perfect sense. So let's take all of this behavioral data, all of these micro interactions we've gathered from the squeaky hardwood of the gymnasium, and let's synthesize it.
Let's bring it all together.
Let's look at the big picture and predict the actual musical outcome of this Code Kunst and Gwyn Dorado collaboration for Famous Singers Need Hit Songs.
Okay, looking into the crystal ball.
We have a deeply talented, rising vocalist transitioning from the trauma of a competitor to the intense pressure of being an originator.
Nice, big.
And we have a legendary hitmaker who just spent an hour deliberately, systematically dismantling his own authority.
The perfect setup.
How does this specific alchemy actually translate to a win score?
If we synthesize the emotional profile we've built today, the forecast for this track is incredibly strong.
I think so, too.
Think about the physiological state Gwyn Dorado will be in when she finally steps into that studio next week.
She's going to be ready.
The paralyzing intimidation factor that crushes so many young artists. It will be completely gone. She won't be walking into a sterile, terrifying operating room. She'll be walking into a simple continuation of their play on the court.
Just hanging out with her music friend.
Right. She will feel seen, respected, and physically energized. She is entering the creative space not as a subordinate employee clocking in, but as a genuine, validated partner.
And that matters for the sound.
Immensely. A relaxed artist is an artist who takes risks. And in modern pop music, vocal risk-taking, those little, imperfect, highly emotive micro-inflections.
Those are what sell.
Yes. They are often the exact elements that separate a generic plastic track from a massive, culturally resonant hit.
I completely agree. A relaxed nervous system yields the best, most resonant vocal performances.
You can hear tension in a recording.
You cannot fake ease on a high-end condenser microphone. The mic picks up every single ounce of tension in the jaw, in the throat, everywhere.
It's totally unforgiving.
And synthesizing the strategic analysis of Code Kunst's producing style, as evidenced by his adaptive behavior on the court, we are looking at a highly responsive methodology.
He's going to adapt to her.
Completely. He isn't going to hand her a rigid, pre-programmed beat and say, sing exactly like this on this exact grid.
No, that's the old way.
He is going to pass the ball.
Yeah.
He will play to her specific physiological strengths.
Just like you watched her shooting form.
Exactly. I predict he will literally adjust his tempo, his BPM, and his instrumentation based on how she naturally breathes and phrases her melodies.
Just like he adjusted his gameplay based on her speed on the court.
It's the exact same principle.
This bespoke adaptive approach, this whole play first, work later methodology, historically correlates with massive, enduring success in the industry.
It's undeniable.
It stands in stark, beautiful contrast to the sterile assembly line approach to pop music that, frankly, dominates so much of the market today.
Ugh, the assembly line, it's so exhausting.
You know the assembly line. Songs are mathematically written in massive TAMs by 10 different songwriters.
They figure out the perfect formula.
They pitch it to a label and then hand it to a vocalist who just shows up, sings the notes exactly as demoed, and clocks out.
No soul involved.
Exactly. The assembly line can produce catchy, algorithmic songs, but they almost always lack a soul.
They sound hollow.
What Code Kunst and Dorado are doing is cultivating an organic, interpersonal dynamic first, trusting that the music will naturally, inevitably flow from that human connection.
It's a much more grounded approach.
Based on this, we can expect a track that isn't rigidly overproduced or claustrophobic.
It's going to breathe.
It will likely have massive sonic space breathing room that highlights Dorado's unique vocal agility without burying her in a wall of sound.
Let me frame the structure of this upcoming song using one last, highly specific basketball analogy because the biomechanics of it just fit their dynamic perfectly.
Okay, bring it home.
I predict that the way the song is arranged will mirror a perfectly executed pick-and-roll play.
A pick and roll. Okay, explain that.
Think about the mechanics of a pick-and-roll on the court. the bigger, more structurally established player.
The producer, Code Kunst.
Right. He sets the screen. He uses his weight, his undeniable mastery of the beat, the heavy bass line, the foundational rhythm, to block the defense and create a wide-open lane.
He does the heavy structural lifting.
Exactly. But he doesn't take the shot himself.
Right.
He sets the screen so that the agile, dynamic, explosive player...
Gwyn Dorado, the vocalist.
Yes. She can take the ball, navigate the opening he created, and drive the melody straight to the emotional hoop.
Oh, that's good.
Code Kunst provides the flawless, impenetrable architecture, and Gwyn Dorado provides the raw scoring execution.
And that right there is the anatomy of a dominant hit song.
Yes, it is.
That is a beautiful way to visualize their partnership. He builds the road, but she drives the car.
Precisely.
And because they took the time to build this bizarre, playful, seemingly unrelated foundation on a brightly lit basketball court,
They know each other now.
they both know exactly how the other person moves. They know her natural rhythm. They know his physical boundaries.
They know how to recover from a miss without panicking.
Exactly. They know how to communicate fear and frustration without ego.
By sweating it out on that hardwood, they have effectively bypassed months of awkward, expensive, tension-filled studio time in a single afternoon of shooting hoops.
It really is a masterclass in creative strategy and human psychology.
It absolutely is. So, to briefly recap our deep dive today,
Let's summarize it.
we looked at a seemingly simple, almost goofy pre-release clip of a legendary producer and a rising singer playing a casual game of basketball.
Seems like nothing on the surface.
But by looking closer, we uncovered the ultimate laboratory for hit song generation.
Truly.
We saw how abandoning the intimidating traditional studio for the neutral ground of the court dismantled restrictive industry hierarchies.
The Speedo joke saves the day.
It did. We saw how the physical mechanics of a friendly game, specifically that miss and reset rule, subconsciously prepared the artist's diaphragm and nervous system for the grueling reality of vocal recording.
Punching in vocals without the panic.
Exactly. And we analyzed how the vulnerability of acknowledging the Narak sensor created the exact psychological safety required to endure high-stakes creative friction.
The basketball court wasn't a distraction from the music.
No, it was the crucible where the foundational trust for the music was actually forged.
It proves that sometimes the most important critical work you do on a creative project happens before you ever touch the actual tools of your trade.
You have to build a relationship first.
The human foundation must precede the technical execution. If the human connection is broken, the multi-million-dollar mixing console cannot save you.
It really can't. Which brings us to our final thought for today.
All right, what do you want the listener to take away?
I want you, the listener, to stop and think about your own life and your own work.
Bring it into your own reality.
Exactly. We all have our own versions of that high-stakes, intimidating recording studio.
Oh, definitely.
Maybe for you, it's the imposing corporate boardroom.
Or terrifying client pitch meeting.
Right. Maybe it's a tense, highly political project kickoff where everyone is just rigidly posturing, trying desperately to prove their expertise and establish dominance.
We've all been in those rooms. They are exhausting.
They are. But what if the best, most innovative collaborations aren't born in those sterile, high-pressure, ego-driven environments at all?
What if we're doing it wrong?
What if the most profound professional breakthroughs happen in the spaces where we deliberately step off the pedestal?
Where we just let ourselves be human.
Where we simply allow ourselves to be human together, where we are allowed to miss a shot, step out of bounds, and laugh about it without fear of ruin.
That's a really powerful idea.
So ask yourself, what is the basketball court equivalent that you need to introduce into your next high-stakes project to check egos at the door and break down the walls?
Find your basketball court.
Exactly. Thank you for joining us on this future_music deep dive.
It's been a great conversation.
Keep questioning the process, keep exploring the fascinating intersection of human connection and strategic success, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.